Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling a question I know a lot of you are curious about. Can you really lose 5 kilograms in just 2 weeks? Our main source is an article called Efficient Ways to Lose 5 Kilograms in 2 Weeks, a guide to sustainable weight loss. Bold title, right?
It's definitely eye-catching.
They seem to think it is possible, if you have the right approach, that is. But we're not just taking their word for it. We'll also be looking at some real-world experiences from YouTube. See if this holds up in real life.
I love that idea.
Before we get started, though, if you're looking for trusted weight loss products with exclusive offers, be sure to check out the link in the episode description. And let's dive in. One thing that struck me right away is that the article emphasizes setting realistic goals, even while aiming for those fast results.
Yeah, I think that's super important. We often get caught up in the hype of quick fixes, but sustainable weight loss is a marathon, not a sprint.
So true. And the article actually recommends aiming for a more gradual loss of 0.5 to 1 kilogram per week.
Which is a much healthier and more sustainable pace for your body.
Right, it's all about finding that balance between seeing results and making sure you're not putting too much stress on your body.
Totally.
So let's break down the article's advice. They cover the usual suspects, healthy diet, hydration, exercise, sleep, stress management. But I'm eager to hear your expert take on these.
Okay, let's do it.
Especially those little details we might not always consider.
Right, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Starting with diet, it's not just about eating less, right?
No, definitely not. It's about understanding how different foods interact with your body and why certain choices might be hindering your progress.
Like processed foods.
Exactly. They're often loaded with sugars, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients that can actually make it harder to lose weight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they can really wreak havoc on your metabolism.
So even if we're cutting calories, if we're still eating a lot of processed foods, we might not see the results we're hoping for.
That's right.
Tell me more about how processed foods affect our bodies.
Well, first of all, they often lack the fiber and nutrients that keep you feeling full.
So we end up eating more.
Yeah, exactly. And they can also spike your blood sugar, which leads to insulin resistance.
And insulin resistance makes it harder for our bodies to burn fat.
Exactly. It's like your body is saying, give me the good stuff.
So we should be focusing on those nutrient-packed foods like fruits, veggies, lean proteins.
Precisely. Whole nutrient-dense foods provide the building blocks. Your body needs to function optimally and burn energy efficiently.
I like to think of it as fueling your body with premium gas, instead of that cheap stuff that makes your engine sputter.
Great analogy.
Now, what about hydration? The article mentions it's important, but is it really that crucial for weight loss?
Absolutely. Water is essential for practically every bodily function, including metabolism.
So when we're dehydrated, our metabolism slows down.
Exactly, making it harder to burn those calories.
Wow, that's good to know. And I've also heard that sometimes our brains mistake thirst for hunger.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. You might end up snacking when all you really need is a good glass of water.
Okay, so drinking more water could actually help us avoid those unnecessary snack attacks.
Totally.
I'm filling up my water bottle right now.
A good idea.
Now let's move on to exercise, which seems like a no-brainer for weight loss.
Right, you got to move that body.
But I bet there's more to it than just hitting the gym right.
Oh, definitely. Different types of exercise offer unique benefits.
So for those of us who are always on the go, what are the most effective types of exercise?
That's a good question.
And before we get into that, just a quick reminder for our listeners. If you're looking for trusted weight loss products with exclusive offers, you can find a link in the description of this episode.
All right, back to exercise. Well, first we have cardio, like running or cycling, which is fantastic for burning calories and improving your heart health.
Okay, so cardio is great for getting our heart rate up.
Yep. And then we have strength training, which involves lifting weights or using resistance bands.
Right.
And strength training builds muscle mass.
Which is important because
muscle burns more calories at rest than fat.
Oh, wow. So it's like a double whammy.
Yep. You burn calories during your workout. And then your metabolism gets a boost afterwards.
Sign me up. But what about those days when squeezing in a full workout feels impossible?
I hear you. Those days happen. But even small bursts of activity can make a difference.
Like what?
Like taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking farther away from your destination, or even just dancing around your living room.
I love that. So it's all about finding those little opportunities to move our bodies throughout the day.
Exactly. Remember, consistency over intensity is key.
Now, the article brings up an interesting point about skipping meals. You'd think it would be a quick way to cut calories, But they say it can actually backfire.
Yeah, it's a common misconception.
What's the deal with that?
Well, when you skip meals, your body goes into starvation mode.
Starvation mode.
Yeah, it basically slows down your metabolism to conserve energy.
Makes sense.
And this can lead to overeating later in the day because your body is trying to make up for those missed calories.
Oh, wow. So it's like playing a dangerous game of metabolic whack-a-mole.
Pretty much.
So we should aim for regular balanced meals throughout the day.
Yes, to keep your metabolism humming along happily and prevent those energy crashes that can lead to poor food choices.
It's all making so much sense. Now let's talk about stress. It seems like it's everywhere these days.
It really does, doesn't it?
And apparently it can mess with our weight too.
Unfortunately, yes.
How does that work?
Well, stress triggers the release of cortisol, which is a hormone that can be helpful in small doses.
Right.
But when it's chronically elevated, it can lead to increased belly fat storage and sugar cravings.
Oh no. So cortisol is basically telling our bodies to store fat.
Kind of like it's saying, let's store some extra padding just in case we need to run from a saber-toothed tiger.
That's a funny way to think about it. But in our modern world, those tigers are more like deadlines and traffic jams.
Exactly.
So how do we tame this cortisol tiger and keep it from sabotaging our weight loss goals?
Well, there are a few things you can try, like deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, listening to calming music, or pursuing hobbies you enjoy.
So it's all about finding those activities that help us relax and de-stress.
Exactly.
It's amazing how all these different factors, what we eat, how we move, how much we sleep, and even our stress levels, all play a role in our weight loss journey.
It's all interconnected.
It really is. Before we move on to the YouTube videos, let's not forget about those awesome weight loss products, with exclusive offers available through the link in the episode description.
Right. They might just give you that extra boost on your journey.
All right, so you found some YouTube videos that seem to echo some of these points we've been discussing.
Yes. We have a lineup of real people documenting their weight loss experiences.
Cool.
One claims to have lost a significant amount of weight using acarialine belly juice.
Interesting.
But we also have YouTubers experimenting with daily runs, dedicated workout routines, and even focusing on increasing their flexibility.
I'm excited to see how their real-world journeys connect to the article's advice.
Me too.
All right, let's dive in.
Let's start with the YouTuber who used acarialine belly juice. They claim to have lost a significant amount of weight. But it's important to remember, this is just one person's experience, and results can vary widely.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to overgeneralize.
And the video doesn't really delve into their diet or exercise habits.
Right, so it's hard to say for sure if the juice was the sole factor in their weight loss.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of looking at the whole picture, rather than focusing on one single element.
Totally.
However, this person's experience does show that supplements can potentially play a role in weight loss.
But they're not a magic bullet.
Definitely not. It's about making sustainable lifestyle changes that support your overall health and well-being.
So it's more about finding what works for you or your body rather than relying on a quick fix.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the YouTuber who ran a mile every day for a week?
Oh, yeah, that one was interesting.
I'm always curious to see how people's bodies respond to those sudden increases in activity.
Me too. It can be quite a shock to the system.
Well, this YouTuber definitely felt the burn. They mentioned feeling exhausted.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning.
Makes sense.
But get this, by the end of the week,
yeah,
their runs seemed to get easier.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. And they even said their body felt more toned and defined.
That's awesome. It just goes to show you how our bodies adapt to exercise.
That's pretty incredible.
Even a week of consistent effort can lead to noticeable changes in strength and endurance.
And it all circles back to what we were saying about exercise having benefits beyond just burning calories.
Right.
It can improve your cardiovascular health,
Really?
boost your mood, and even give you that feeling of accomplishment.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the YouTuber who focused on flexibility. They did a lot of stretching and yoga for a month.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. Their progress was incredible.
I know, right? They went from barely being able to touch their toes to practically folding themselves in half.
It's amazing how much our bodies can change with consistent effort.
Totally. And flexibility is often overlooked, but it's so important for overall health and mobility.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget how important flexibility is for preventing injuries.
Especially if you're trying to stay active and keep up with those weight loss goals.
Exactly.
No, it's worth noting that none of these YouTubers achieved drastic weight loss in a short amount of time.
Which brings us back to the article's emphasis on Sustainability and setting realistic expectations.
Precisely.
Sustainable weight loss isn't about crash diets or extreme workout regimens.
It's about finding what works for you, making gradual changes to your lifestyle, and sticking with them over time.
And these YouTube videos perfectly illustrate that, both the triumphs and the struggles. We saw people making progress, but they also face challenges and setbacks along the way.
And that's completely normal. Weight loss isn't a linear journey.
Yeah, there are going to be ups and downs.
Exactly. There will be plateaus and moments where you might feel like giving up.
I've definitely been there.
But the key is to learn from those experiences. Adjust your approach as needed. And most importantly, keep moving forward.
So it's all about perseverance and resilience.
Exactly.
And remembering that everyone's journey is unique.
Well said. And before we move on, I wanted to remind our listeners that if they're looking for a little extra support on their weight loss journey, they can find a link to some trusted products with exclusive offers in the description of this episode.
Great reminder. Now, as we look back at these real-world examples, do you notice any common threads that tie back to the article's advice?
Absolutely. One of the biggest takeaways is the importance of consistency.
Consistency is key.
Whether it's sticking to a healthy eating plan, making time for regular exercise, or prioritizing stress management techniques, consistency is what separates those who achieve lasting results from those who struggle to maintain their progress.
It's like building a solid foundation for a healthy lifestyle brick by brick, rather than trying to build a skyscraper overnight.
Exactly. It's about creating sustainable habits that you can maintain over time.
You know, it's so inspiring to see these real people putting these principles into practice and making positive changes in their lives.
I agree. It's one thing to read about the science of weight loss, but it's another to see those concepts come to life in real-world scenarios.
So after all this talk about sustainable weight loss, I'm still wondering about that 5 kilograms in 2 weeks. Do you think it's really possible?
That's the question, isn't it? It might be possible for some people to see those really fast results, especially if they're making drastic changes, but it's usually not healthy or sustainable.
Yeah, it's like trying to sprint a marathon.
Exactly. You'll burn out before you reach the finish line.
So sustainable weight loss is more like a scenic hike.
I like that. You're in it for the long haul, enjoying the journey and making steady progress.
And it's not just about the end goal, right?
Right. It's about nourishing your body, moving in ways you enjoy, getting enough sleep, managing stress, and cultivating a positive relationship with yourself.
I love that. It's about the whole package.
Exactly. Shifting our focus from quick fixes to sustainable habits.
So maybe the better question is, how can we create a lifestyle that supports our well-being, both physically and mentally?
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where healthy habits become second nature and you feel empowered to make choices that align with your goals.
And speaking of feeling empowered, don't forget about those awesome weight loss products, with exclusive offers available through the link in the episode description.
They might be just what you need on your journey.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think it all comes down to finding what works for you and creating a sustainable approach that you can stick with.
No more quick fixes or fad diets.
Exactly. It's about making gradual changes that fit into your lifestyle.
And remembering that progress isn't always linear.
There will be ups and downs, but the key is to keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep celebrating those small victories.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of weight loss.
It was a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to create a healthy and sustainable approach that works for you.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep into those topics that spark your interest.